Major controversy developing tonight involving the Texas couple who host the popular HGTV show Fixer Upper. They find themselves the target of a critical article by a big-time website and a writer who apparently doesn't really love where this couple goes to church. The piece is on the website BuzzFeed under the headline, "Chip and Joanna Gaines' church is firmly against same-sex marriage." Trace Gallagher is live in our West Coast newsroom with how this all unfolded. Trace?
Megan, they have a hit show. They're best-selling authors, and Texas Monthly Magazine credits them with revitalizing the city of Waco. But now BuzzFeed has broken the news that Fixer Upper host Chip and Joanna Gaines attend an evangelical church in Texas where the pastor is against same-sex marriage. Turns out Pastor Jimmy Siebert believes, as nearly half of all Christians do according to Pew Research, that marriage should be between a man and a woman. A short time ago, the pastor was asked by FoxNews.com's Todd Starnes if his church is anti-gay. Watch.
We are not only not anti-gay, we are just pro helping people in their journey to find out who God is and who He's made them to be.
But the thing is, we don't know how Chip and Jo Gaines feel about same-sex marriage because BuzzFeed published the story without getting an answer from them. And here's BuzzFeed's reasoning, quoting, "Fixer Upper has fans of all stripes. Christians, feminists, and LGBT viewers have all found something to love in the Gaineses. So in the absence of a response from them or their representatives, it's worth looking at the severe, unmoving position Pastor Siebert and Antioch Church take on same-sex marriage. In other words, guilt by association. If this type of attack on Christian beliefs sounds familiar, you'll recall in 2014, the Benham brothers had a show on HGTV, and when they came out against gay marriage, the LGBT community protested, sponsors pulled their ads, HGTV fired them. But this time around, even many BuzzFeed readers have responded by calling the story a bit of a witch hunt. Megan.
Trace, thank you. Well, culture wars ignite as the Democrats begin another new term with the House leader, Nancy Pelosi, the minority leader, today beating out challenger Representative Tim Ryan. But after hemorrhaging control in recent elections, is the left missing the message? They're going after this family. They're re-electing Nancy Pelosi as their leader. What does it tell us? Chris Steyerwalt and Dana Perino know. They're here to discuss it. All right, so you tell me, Steyerwalt, whether it seems to you like a great idea to both attack this very popular Christian family and elevate, yet again, Nancy Pelosi, who, let's face it, her record of winning lately hasn't been so good.
Well, you know, 2010 was a while ago, and probably decency would have demanded that after failing to retake the House majority, that she would have stepped aside and let somebody else, some other person, a new face come forward to take over. But she didn't, and she continues to hold power. The reason she is able to continue to hold power is that the Democratic Party, as her challenger, Tim Ryan from Youngstown, Ohio, the pride of Mahoning County, said, this is a coastal party. This is a party that is concentrated in very liberal precincts in places like where Nancy Pelosi's from, which is San Francisco, but also New York, and these enclaves. And when you look at the county map and you see how red the rest of the country is, that they're in these places. And that kind of thinking is what leads people to do things like, I don't know, attack people for what their pastor said at church in Texas.
And this family, Dana, you know, they're very popular. They host their own TV show. They're not bothering anybody. They haven't gone out there to the pulpit and said anything. They just attend a church that BuzzFeed decided to investigate, and they're just questioning whether these folks are anti-gay and believe in this conversion therapy that the pastor has backed and so on.
This was definitely an attempt at activist journalism that I think backfired on BuzzFeed. So they decided to go after them. This is a couple that has 4 children, live in Waco. Look, I spent a lot of time in Waco. That's right by Crawford, Texas. That's where we stayed on the whole press corps estate. Right. And I think Waco has definitely benefited from having this joyous couple. And David Harsanyi actually writes a really great, funny piece in The Federalist saying, this couple could ruin your marriage because they are so happy and so delighted to work side by side that then BuzzFeed decides, how do we get some clicks on our website? Well, they wanted to try to trigger an outrage mob, and we've all seen them. Megan, you know the outrage mob very well on social media, but the election is over. So now they're trying to find other ways, and so they're trotting old ground so that they could try to find something that will bring up a controversy that will give them all the clicks that they could ever want on their website. But I do think it backfired on them this time around.
I mean, is this a future, Chris? Is that we have websites and publications going into people's churches to say, what does your pastor say with which we, the, quote, majority, disagree? At the same time, we have Nancy Pelosi standing up there trying to, you know, push her values on us. And then President Obama saying, I don't understand it. It must be Fox News' fault.
It must be. I personally blame Megyn Kelly. Look, you know who else is... Do you know who else's church says that same-sex relations are a sin? Nancy Pelosi's. She's a Catholic.
Right.
The Roman Catholic Church is pretty unambiguous on that point. This is a weird space, and certainly we understand why people who are gay feel that they have a right to stand up and say who stands with us and who stands against us. That's fine. When you are getting into the business of going into the pulpit and asking what somebody's pastor said about something else, you don't have them on the record. You don't know anything about them.
It's not like they said anything about it.
No.
They didn't express any agreement one way or the other. They just have a microphone effectively stuck in their face now, Dana, from BuzzFeed saying, do you or don't you, do you or don't you. It's like, wow. I mean, apparently that is the point we're at. And you tell me they also want to know whether they've ever done this, you know, fixer-upper thing for a gay or lesbian couple in Waco. Assumes facts, not in evidence. We don't know what the gay and lesbian population of Waco is, nor whether they've ever requested a fixer-upper service from this family.
What a broadside against this couple, right? And also, I think what BuzzFeed didn't realize is that the election of Donald Trump seems to have done something else, which is to allow people to say, stop. This is ridiculous. And to be able to say, I don't need to share my private thoughts with you about anything. It has nothing to do with what I do, which is make people really happy with new houses in a great town in middle America.
Right. It's none of your beeswax would be the perfect one-line statement. They could just put that out. Great to see you both.
Bye.